Howdy, y'all. Hey, and nobody's here yet. It's alright, I started early. For anybody who's only going to watch the first 10 minutes. That's right, Phil, that means you. Leaf by Oscar. This one's Maduro. They got several different versions of it. That is the actual wrapper. And I'm going to tell y'all why this is a special cigar. For any of y'all who are out there and think, I will blend my own tobacco. This is the perfect cigar for you. This band is made from tobacco. Can be smoked. Not too fond of this particular portion of it, though.
You shouldn't smoke it with the ink on it.
My wife tells me I shouldn't smoke it with the ink on it. I'm not going to smoke that portion anyways. This is the portion that I'm going to get to, though. This cigar comes with a full leaf of tobacco. Howdy, Paul and James. Great to see both of you. All right, so you get a leaf by Oscar, any of the cigars. And you real carefully unwrap your cigar from out of this leaf. Because it's actually a really good cigar. But now you have this leaf that you can chop up. Simple work with some scissors. You can spend all the time you want pulling all of that out. You're not going to find very much of a stem in it. It'll be on one side. Look, on this, it's right here. Right there between my fingers. But you take that and you chop it up and crumble it up or whatever you want to do. Put it into a empty-ish tin for later, however you want to work with it. If you want to work with cigar leaf, but you like a good cigar, then Leaf by Oscar gives you a decent cigar leaf that I have smoked. And I'm going to tell you, you're going to get a good cigar, and you get that cigar leaf for blending. Now, the cigar leaf is a Connecticut, so it's not going to be super strong, but you're going to get that flavor. So there we go. James, while you're here. Patrick, howdy, sir. James, while you are here, remember I said I got an idea for you for some cigar stands. Epoxy. Make a cube that is roughly a little bit more than one finger. Knuckle to knuckle outside. Well, and your hands might be a little bit bigger or smaller than mine. And then you can put a design on each side if you want. You can make it so that it is with a little leather tether if that's what you want to do. Or you can cut 4 different sizes into it. Cigar. This is a 60 ring gauge. You don't have to cut all the way down to make it work. And I will show you that both sides will hold a 60 on this particular one, but you can make them any way you wanted to. And if you know anybody who smokes outside on like a steel table, you can put some of those rare earth magnets on certain places, wherever that would work. And if you have that, this is a chunk of solid stainless, so it's heavy, which makes it awkward because it is so very heavy. But if you have it where it is with some magnets, if you have it like on a steel table or something, when you set it down, it stays. Anyways, James, just thought maybe you would like that as an idea. Probably take up a whole lot less epoxy than a cigar ashtray, but fits in your quick little to-go bag. Just a thought. Just a thought. James Everett and Patrick and Paul. I am so happy that y'all are here. Car. Anyways, I just wanted to make sure to get that out during the time that Phil at the Briar Report would be able to see what was going on. That way, hey. And James, it's just an idea. Yeah, you don't have to do nothing like that. Right, so like I said, it's an idea that I could see a good, easy niche for it. Howdy, Jeff. Great to see you, sir. Well, hopefully all is well. Sorry that you can't stay along. I've been missing a few of yours lately, but I've been catching up on them on rerun or replay, or however that works. It's not my fault. Oh crap. Okay, Everett, that's good that it's doing good, but wow, yeah, older folks falling down and breaking a hip would that's almost never good. I'm glad that she's okay. James, yes, I understand. The ashtray was definitely commissioned. This would be like something where you're going like, man, I've got a little bit of epoxy left. I'll give it a shot. And if it works out for you, great. If it doesn't, at least you'll have one that you could use, you know, outdoors when you're just hanging out on the outside and you don't actually need an ashtray, but you might want something to keep your cigar from rolling away. And if you make it tall enough, it can sit right next to any ashtray that you've got. Well, James, those are really good for in the car and stuff. This is more like you're over at a buddy's house and they have an ashtray, but all of the cigar holding spots on it are full. You can take your tin and right there on the edge, and now your cigar can hang over that ashtray. Or if it's a low enough ashtray, you don't even need to put the tin up there. It's just a way to add an extra spot towards any ashtray. And for those people who are, oh, I'm going over to a friend's house, and they are not cigar or pipe smokers. I could take this with me, or I could take a full-on ashtray with me. As long as you're outside over the grass or something, nobody's going to say too much about you dropping a few ashes out in their lawn. But if it happens to be like a plastic table or something that, you know, the bench that you're sitting on over there at their house, and you don't want to put any burn marks on it by accident, then this is a decent idea. It's just a thought. Like I said, we could talk about it more if you're interested. I've already thought of 1,000,003 ways to use it effectively, other than putting it in a sock and beating somebody to death with it. Hopefully nobody takes it to thinking that that's what I bought it for. Oh, James, I was just saying, if you only had a little bit of epoxy left over and you were not able to make anything that looks like you were going to be, there wouldn't even be enough epoxy in this to make decent knife scales. And I figured if you gave it a shot and it looks like it works and somebody will buy it, great. If not, then we'll figure out how to have me buy the one and only one from you, and then we won't try to worry about it no more. And then I'll talk it up and see if we can't get people to want to buy one. Just a thought. No big deal either way. By the way, the Leaf by Oscar cigar is a good cigar. And if you miss the first 5-ish minutes, you might want to go back and rewatch that at some point, because you'll see where you can get a cigar leaf for your own blending purposes. Well, James, there's an idea. I mean, I guess I can either take super accurate measurements on it, or maybe I could just mail it to you. Ooh, Andalusian Bull. Good Lord, Patrick, you smoking good today. At least I'm smoking. Anyways, James, we'll talk about it. If you're saying that it'd be a bit too much trouble, I understand. I don't know enough about epoxy to even think about how to do it. I was just saying this might be an idea. And if it's not a good idea, that's fine. I'm always coming up with ideas. Sometimes they'll work and sometimes they won't. I mean, I had an idea about carving this pipe, and it didn't come out anything like what I originally planned for it to, because I don't have enough skill at that point, being that it was the first one I ever tried. I'm not going to lie about it. I didn't have the skills to do what I thought I could. And I ended up with something else entirely than what I originally had planned. And I still love it. But it came from having an idea. Okay, James, not a problem. You build stuff out of clay? Come on, James. Mr. Super Talented over there. Only thing I can build out of clay always looks like little hot dog things. Possibly worms. Is what it is. Right. James, I'm not saying it wouldn't be a lot of work anyways. I was just... I was just spitballing an idea in my head and thought it might be something that you would at least want to look at. Mostly because I've seen a lot of those sold. Because you can walk up and set it next to an ashtray and you've got a cigar holder whether they've got an ashtray or not. Oh, well, that's true, James. That is true. I definitely said I don't know anything about epoxy. That is not true. I do know a few things about epoxy. Like that epoxy that you squish into a hole and then you drop bolts into it, and if you've done it right, then you can move a very large item on top of it, and if you've done it exactly right, once that large item drops down on top of it, then all you got to do is drop some nuts down on your bolts and boom, whatever it is not going anywhere. I've seen some of that epoxy stuff that's got the strength of, well, 5 times what the concrete that it's dropped into has. I don't understand it well enough to tell you much, but you know, there's those epoxy glues. They come in a tube. You gotta squeeze the one plunger that pushes both of them together out of a nozzle, and then you mix it all up. And I've watched Forge and Fire. They use 5-minute epoxy on knife scales all the damn time. Normally that knife is going to lose. Well, I appreciate it, James. That tells me I better not get involved in epoxy. Sounds like a lot of work. Like a whole lot of work. Anyways, that was my idea. This was my idea, something that could be made out of epoxy that doesn't weigh what this stainless steel one weighs. This is very heavy. You do not want this dragging along on your belt loop all day. Whereas an epoxy one would be light, and you might not even notice that it's there all day. But when you go to set your cigar down on it, you can be like, I'm glad I have it. I've seen them made out of wood, and I've seen them made out of steel. And like I said, I just figured it would be something you could maybe look at and kind of guesstimate what you would want to do with it if you were going to do with it at all. I'm not saying you want to do nothing with it. I'm giving ideas. I think about things all day long, and if I come up with something that I think y'all might want to do for yourselves, especially if somebody has more skills or better talent than I do, I'd be glad to pass that along to you. I'm not trying to get rich on this. Ideas are free. As far as this goes, I can tell you right now, this was a square bar of stainless that somebody chopped it into the parts that or into the length and size they wanted, and then somebody ran their grinder on 2 spots, and then somebody came back and etched a design on each side. And as far as a chunk of steel goes, I mean, it's pretty good, pretty damn cool. But like I said, it's just heavy. And of course, I keep it around for just that occasion when somebody shows up and they're able to smoke a cigar with me, which hasn't been in a while because of COVID. Nasty, stupid COVID. I got a feeling you're going to get me killed, James. So if suddenly I'm not here directly after I got a box opening from James, or directly after I inform y'all that Holly got a box to open from James, y'all know it's my fault. Nobody blame James. I'm completely cool with taking the blame. Hey, if y'all need to blame people, blame me. I'm good with it, man. I get blamed for crap all day long. I will tell you, cigar's pretty tasty. I normally like a bit more pepper than this has, so it's pretty light on the pepper. Howdy, Steve and Miss Kathy. Or is that Miss Kathy and Second Steve? Sorry, just reiterating what we heard on Nashville Mafia last night. James, I might get 9mm instead of iron skillet. I just never know. And that's okay too. Oh, that is perfectly okay. Will not be the first time in my life where I've been threatened within an inch of it. But it would be the last. I mean, just saying. If she goes and kills me, that's definitely the last time in my life where someone threatens me within an inch of my life. I'm okay with that too. Oh, by the way, in case y'all are wondering, 72 degrees Fahrenheit today. I was out there trimming limbs off of a Bradford pear. Have to do it every February. Does not matter what February it is, you have to take limbs out of a Bradford pear. I just wish that it was a real pear tree. It's called a pear because it looks like a pear, but it's unedible and the wood becomes toxic, so you can't use it for pipes. I did a lot of research. Yeah. Patrick, that's a heat wave for New York City this time of year. It's just slightly warm here. Comparative. Horatio, howdy sir, great to see you. I see we're putting together a decent crowd of tailgaters to jump over to Robert's channel here in about 30 minutes. Oh, thank you, sir. It's good to be seen. It's very good to be seen. In case anybody who came in late is wondering, I am smoking a Leaf by Oscar. And that particular cigar comes wrapped up in a cigar leaf, and I've been telling people about it for a while. If you want to see what that cigar leaf looks like, pretty much go back to the front of this video. Somewhere in the first 5-ish minutes you will see me unwrap this thing, and it's a good amount of cigar leaf. So if you're gonna blend it in to your own particular favorite blends, just because you want a little bit of that cigar flavor in your tobacco blends, hey, you know what? Great cigar for that. Plus you get a really good cigar. Ooh, hey, you know what? I'm wrong. No, Robert's coming on in about an hour. This is the hour-and-a-half show. I'm going to be making Robert show up early one day. My bad. I apologize. Oh, the other cool thing about having a cigar is, well, you take all the ashes and you get to turn it into pipe mud. And for anybody who's wondering why you use cigar ashes and not pipe ashes, a cigar, as it burns completely and fully. Pipe tobacco does not always burn completely. And what you're trying to do with pipe mud is get a paste made of ash that is all ash and just a little bit of water. Because as it dries, it will basically turn into a shoddy form of concrete, but you're not trying to pour concrete down into your pipe. But with it all being burnt, it will not then consume itself off of your pipe. But if you have little flecks of tobacco in that pipe mud that you're using, as you burn down, it can burn through in certain spots and create a void, which would be bad for your pipe. And that's the reason you use cigar ashes. That's it. That's as simple as I can put that. And my knowledge as a boiler inspector, we look for this stuff called refractory. That's how I learned about the whole thing. There's all kind of information on it in the boiler world that is applicable, that wouldn't make sense to hardly anybody else. And no, I'm not trying to brag on some sort of knowledge. It's actually very boring. The hardest part about learning it is staying awake long enough to actually learn it. Seen a few people falling asleep trying to learn that material. Don't know what to say. It is what it is. So let's see. Weirdly enough, we're going to be having the Super Bowl this week. Los Angeles Rams, Cincinnati Bengals. I kind of hope that Cincinnati wins. But I think the fix will be in for Los Angeles to win. I believe the Super Bowl is in Los Angeles. Might be detrimental to a lot of stuff in Los Angeles if the home team doesn't win. There's always this push to be the first team to ever do this. First team to play the Super Bowl at home. Howdy, Todd. Great to see you, sir. Hopefully you're doing well. And no, that's not the only reason I want to see the Cincinnati Bengals win. I really want to see Cincinnati win that. If a team can take out my team, I want to see that team go ahead and win it all. I don't want to see them get to the doorstep of victory and have the rug snatched out from under them. Raiders fans know how that feels. It's why every Raiders fan ever hates Tom Brady. Which is no big deal. It's not actual hate of Tom Brady. I mean, I'm sure if Tom wanted to sit down and have a beer with me and talk, we would get along just fine. I don't actually hate anybody. Todd, I'm doing excellent. I am doing excellent. Smoking a good cigar. Getting to hang out with y'all fine folks. Wondering if they're ever going to find anything on Oak Island. Just poking fun at James. There are very few of those reality programs that I can get into, because a lot of them just, it seems like the same stuff over and over and over. I think I lost all touch with reality programs when Survivor first season showed up, and some guy who was Army Ranger or Marine Recon. It's been so long since I don't even remember. He was Special Forces, some branch of the military, and he could not out-survive some guy that would not survive regular basic training. But somehow he beat out a guy who was Special Forces on a show called Survivor. You're up to 190. Good Lord, Todd. Very nice. Is that 190 or 109? I know you were like at 119 or something just the other night. I hope it's not just a bunch of people who will unsub you just as soon as they figure out that they did not win that Phil Rivera pipe. Tell you what, that's a bucket list item. Anybody who's a pipe smoker is going to say that. That's one of those pipe makers that, he's on your list. London Calling with Simon, probably Eric Weaver. Well, if you like freehands. If you don't like freehands, maybe not Eric Weaver. But his pipes are pretty damn fantastic. Jay Mouton, Phil Rivera. There's some pipes artisans out there that, yeah. Those pipes are on my list. I'm not lying about it. London Calling with Simon, of course. What do you mean I didn't read my own? Oh, you mean like somebody would want my pipe? No. No. I'm more goofing around with it. At some point, I might make a pipe that's worthy of something, but at present, no. Nah. I'm just having a good time tinkering when I can't do much of anything else. Because either all the chores are done or I've been told just go outside and do something. There are times where Holly tells me just go outside and do something. Oh, I didn't read it wrong. Okay, so you are at 190. Very cool. Awesome job, Todd. I'm very happy for you. And that's always been my goal here at Tailgating Central. Try and promote other people. Get their names out there. Get them to go to other people's lives. Get them to do their own lives or their own videos. Get them into that group where they feel like, hey, they've gotten what they want and they've accomplished what they want. Keep going though, Todd. Keep going. Let's see how high we can get this. 190 right now. That's awesome. I want to see Todd pass me. And for anybody that's thinking that's strange, no, it's not strange. It's not even hard. Shouldn't be hard. I'm not doing this for subs. I appreciate every one of the people who've subbed the channel over the years. I'm not doing it to get into GAWs. I mean, I do get into some GAWs. I've won a few. Very few. But that's okay. I'm okay with that. Y'all will not see me in everybody's GAW. That's because I don't want to be that guy that wins and never gives back. And until I get a job, I can't give back. Not the way I feel like I would want to. It's hard for me to just take free stuff. Oh yeah, Jeff said that too. And there's a lot of us that we don't get into a lot of the GAWs. Todd, I'm telling you right now, I would love to be in your GAW because I want a Phil Rivera pipe. But December and January were so good to me, I don't want to be that one that wins. I want to see somebody else win. I want to be able to say, hey, congratulations on winning that awesome pipe. That's pretty much the way I am. I don't have to be the numero uno. I like being one of the masses. I mean, James Stumbo will say, I'm nothing more than a grain of sand. I'm right there with you, James. I'm not all that important. Grand scheme of things, I'm just not. As for tailgating and making sure that people know, hey, there's another show coming on. Very cool for me to hang out with a bunch of friends and just be like, hey, let's hang out, smoke something, relax, put the day on hold and get it there. Howdy, JB. Great to see you, sir. Oh, come on, Horatio. That analogy stinks. Howdy, Donnie. Great to see you, sir. Hopefully everything's well. Now, for those of y'all who showed up late, I'm smoking a Leaf by Oscar. It's a good cigar, and it comes wrapped up in a full tobacco leaf. And for any of y'all who are thinking about blending your own blends, that tobacco leaf is perfect for that. Nothing but a little bit of work with some scissors. Blend it into whatever you're trying to blend it into. It'll be great. Oh yeah, JB. Weather's freaking awesome here. 72 degrees at the start. I think it's going to drop off into the 60s by the time I get off of this chair, but I'm not sweating it. It's not hot enough to sweat, and it's not cold enough to require anything more than a t-shirt. So Todd, just in case you missed what JB said, do you have a blend type that you prefer? "46 degrees. Well, you're there in West Virginia, aren't you, Donnie? Do I remember that right? You're in West Virginia? I've been wrong before. If I'm wrong, it's okay. I can be wrong. I don't have to be right on where everybody lives. I'm lucky to remember where I live half the time. But if I am right, and you do happen to live in West Virginia, 46 is nice. It's very nice. 46 degrees, West Virginia. I remember going there right before Christmas back in 2004. And it stayed nice, luckily for me, but was literally driving like hell to get out of West Virginia before the snow hit, because my little truck would have been all over the road going through those mountains. Howdy, Scott. Great to see you, sir. Neck's a little sore. I was staring up at the tree all day, taking limbs out of a Bradford pear. No big deal. Just was. Regular yard work. Nothing big. Nothing major. Stuff that had to be done. But you spend all day looking straight ahead. Though actually a lot of people spend all day like this. Very few people spend all day staring up at the sky. When you're trimming a tree, that's what you got to do. Oh yeah, Scott. I can imagine, because if you let that forklift get even halfway out of control, you're screwed. And yeah, inch or two in one direction, and you can be wearing that whole stack of wood. And well, here in Texas, we used to have this team that was, before it went to join the SEC, called Texas A&M, and they used to have this thing called the Texas A&M Bonfire just before they played UT. That's the real UT, not U10 that is the fake UT. That's said for Willie and John. But yeah, if you let a stack of wood get loose on you, you're in all kind of trouble. Oh, Steve, hopefully that business is all taken care of and it ends up all in your favor. There's really nothing I've ever enjoyed more than beating lawyers out. Horatio, you are absolutely correct. All these kids today that are steadily staring down, when they get older, they're still going to be staring down because they won't be able to pick their head up anymore. Heaviest yabo you've ever opened. And here I thought that would have been that heat press you just recently got. By the way, if it'll make grilled cheese and Cuban sandwiches, then that was a win. All right, Steve, that's good to hear. Fairly good news. And sometimes that's all you can hope for. When lawyers are involved, sometimes fairly good news is, hey, I'm not going to jail. Or, hey, I'm not having to pay alimony to her for the rest of my natural existence. Hunchback of Notre Dame. Yeah, you ain't lying. Going to be millions of them. I mean, look, I do use my phone quite a bit. And I've got the Kindle app on my phone so that I can read books. Because instead of going to the store to go pick up a book, I can just order another one, and 20 seconds later I can start reading it. And sometimes those books are of a very technical nature, and I shouldn't be having to leave them behind when I go someplace. I might need to look that information up. Well, I could carry that phone that weighs a couple of ounces, or I could carry a library worth of technical manuals. Let's just say the library of technical manuals, you need a forklift to tote around, and I don't have one of those that fits in my back pocket. But the phone does, so, yeah. I do a whole lot of reading on the phone. Scott, I almost read that wrong, but I almost read it right by reading it wrong. The furniture will be interesting to see how it turns out for sure. There's going to be a whole new world of furniture in existence just to straighten people's necks back out. I mean, just imagine 50 years from now, Miss USA will be a hunchback. Really? Yeah, think about it. It's coming. Instead of a swimsuit category, it'll be the posturepedic category. Can she actually look a person in the eye while she's talking? Or does she have to answer an emoji? Oh, yeah, yeah. Glasses so that you can have that screen less than an inch from your eyeball. Burning out your retinas the easy way. Awesome. And then implants so the information goes directly to your brain. With all the problem with viruses and hackers, do you really want a damn implant where somebody might be able to completely jack you up? There's a few other words I have for the word jack, but I'm going to try and be nice about it. I mean, I'm literally the guy who is not getting a vaccine and won't get a vaccine. Just because I don't know what all's in that vaccine. Yeah, JB. I'm right there with you. Well, Scott, I might merge with machine if the knee gets completely unusable and they have some sort of bionic knee that they can install in there that will last the rest of my life and will actually function as well as the other one does at present point. I mean, certain applications here I can completely be okay with. Uh, you know, accidents happen, somebody needs a new hand or loses a leg, and they've got a machine type thing that works with it. I mean, we're okay. But actually putting tech and stuff inside the brain, nope. But they've been playing around with that for forever also. I mean, there's deaf kids that they've got some sort of little implant that goes in like near the back of the head and it allows them to hear. And what's to keep them from expanding on that? Pretty much nothing. And I see adults running up and down the street, left, right, and sideways, that have their earbuds plugged into their head. They can't hear if a car rolls up behind them. Huh. You know the next step there is going to be one of those where they don't need the earbuds anymore. It's just going to be able to turn on and off with just a thought. They'll get a bunch of suckers that way. Now, as far as somebody worried about the vaccine or this, that, the other, look, if you are worried about it, okay, worry. I'm not trying to influence anybody in any way, shape, or form about the vaccine. If you want to get the vaccine, get it. It's fine. I am not you. I do not make your decisions. I do not want to influence your decisions. My only statement is, just like Obamacare, 22,000 pages and nobody can tell you what's in it until you vote for it. Well, you know what my normal vote is when nobody can tell me what's in it until I agree to it, is to say that I'm not agreeing to it. Sorry, it's just not happening. I mean, there's all kind of people that they forget to read these contracts and then they sign at the bottom line. And then they find out that, well, they agreed in the fine print that they only get 10% of their money anyways. Okay. Or they sign up for an electrical plan or a phone plan, and they tell you all about the starter teaser rate for unbelievably low amount of money. What they don't tell you is the balloon payment and the holy crap. You won't be able to afford it 3 years from now. But the teaser rate is awesome right up until they flip that switch and screw your finances all to hell. Howdy, Jose Golf Piper. Great to see you, sir. Cars are like that nowadays. They tell you, oh yeah, this is going to be your payment for 5 years. And if you don't read through the whole thing, then you find out that 5 years and 1 day you owe the whole rest of the chunk. And the whole rest of the chunk comes out to $30 because they've been charging interest on, or $30,000 because they've been charging interest on it. Here you bought a $30,000 car and you paid $15,000 and you still owe $30,000 on it after 5 years. They call it a balloon payment or something like that. Yeah. I know a few folks that got jacked around that way. Oh, but the payments were great. Yeah. Now you owe that whole freaking price of the car for a 5-year-old car, but you owe it like as if it was the new car. Hey, don't blame me for pointing these things out. I've seen them happen. And my friends, I would prefer to not see it happen to any of y'all. Neat Freak, howdy sir, great to see you. Jose, I am smoking a Leaf by Oscar Maduro 60 ring gauge. And for everybody who missed out, the wrapper is a large tobacco leaf. And if you're ever thinking about blending your own blends and you want to try to get something with a little bit of a cigar flavor, then you can get this cigar and you have a good cigar. And as a bonus, you get a leaf that you can spend a little time with some scissors. And you've got plenty of leaf to blend into whatever blend you want to try to blend that way. Edwin Pipes and Cigars, howdy sir, great to see you. Now, for everybody who's unused to the tailgate theory is this. We quite literally, when Robert goes live, we're going to jump from here straight over to Robert's live stream. And I tailgate for 4 shows right now. I can tailgate for 5, 6, 7, 8. I try to make it one a day, though, please. Oh, JB, you got to be kidding me. Scott, I'm going to tell you right now, there are a ton of people. Most of them are all just cigar guys, but they will throw that wrapper out. Yeah, Horatio, I mean, for the people that don't want to blend their own, or don't feel that a cigar flavoring added to a pipe blend is going to work out, that's cool. But if, like several who've been through the channel in a few years, really get into blending their own tobaccos, it's just a great way to get decent cigar leaf for use as a filler in on your pipe tobacco blends that you are blending for yourself. I'm not saying you have to, but I'm just showing you a way to get some that I know is definitely smokable. Oh, by the way, though Holly says don't smoke this stuff with the ink on it, this is also made from tobacco, and you get two of them. One comes on the cigar itself, and one comes on the cigar wrapper all the way around the wrapper. But I've been told, don't smoke the stuff with the ink on it. Personally, I didn't like the stuff with the ink on it as far as flavor, so I'm not going to smoke it myself. Oh, Todd, that's still cool, because that's like a 40-person gain in, what, a night, maybe two? Yeah, soy-based plastic shielding is really not a good way to go. Because I'm sorry, but the soy-based plastic is not going to have the ability to handle heat that some of the wires in and around an engine are going to be able to produce. Oh, but it's good for the environment. Yeah, right up until you have to replace the whole freaking wiring harness of your vehicle. What do you think it costs to mine the copper? They strip mine for copper. You want to go see how the world got changed? Go find yourself a strip mine and go look at what's left over afterwards. Trust me. Electric vehicles, they strip mine for all of that stuff that goes into the batteries. Very cool. You could get a Dodge 1-ton dually diesel and run it constantly for 5 straight years and not do as much damage to the environment as the process of producing one Prius. But they're not going to talk about that. They're going to say, oh, well, after it's made, this is much better for the environment. Well, where you get the electricity from? I'm betting there's a lot of coal that goes into keeping your vehicle supplied. Neat Freak, I get those all the time. Even better was the ones when I was working for an insurance company, driving a company car. And I would get other insurance companies calling me up and saying, we can save you 10% on your insurance. I'd tell them, great, send me the check. Howdy, Robert. Great to see you, sir. Then the insurance companies would, of course, turn right back around and be like, hey, no, you would still have to pay us. We're going to cut 10% off of what you're paying. And I'd be like, well, I don't pay anything for my insurance. So 10% cheaper than that is you're going to send me money. Just cut me the check. Aromatics. Howdy, sir. Hey, good looking cigar there for Christina. By the way, if y'all are not following Jeff at Aromatics, he's right there on my screen. Hopefully that's where the chat was for you also. He's actually rolling his own cigars, and they're looking pretty damn good. Oh yeah, Dottie, believe me, trust in an electrical car, if you know how often they have to replace the batteries, which, hey, you know what? On my own Dodge right out here, every 5 years, I have to replace the battery. And, what happens when your whole drivetrain is completely dependent upon batteries that are so locked into the framework of the vehicle that they literally have to yank the whole damn thing apart to even get to them? Huh. That's going to be completely jacked up, because the cost is going to be way more expensive than you think it is. Neat Freak, hey, don't worry about it. If nobody wants to smash the like button, it's fine. I'm not upset. I'm tailgating. Tailgating's always cool. And, well, I'm tailgating for Robert, and Robert's here, so hey, that's the best part. I mean, but yeah, electrical vehicles, it's a lot more expensive to own than you think it is, because once every 5 years you're going to spend another 15 grand putting brand new batteries so that you can even drive to the end of your street. Oh, and any of y'all who are fans of what was it, Top Gear? Now we're talking BBC version. We're not talking to the Americas or the Germans or whatever. But y'all might remember that Richard Hammond one time did a hill race in an electric vehicle, and they had an accident. And he ended up in the hospital about it. And his electric vehicle caught on fire because the batteries started shorting after the accident and were literally cooking each other off. How do you explain that to somebody? Those batteries will heat up and could completely destroy your vehicle. from what I understand, the car was burning for 3 days because they would get the fire put out, and just the heat that was stored inside the batteries would cause another one to rupture, and it would light back on fire. You gotta hope that's not happening in your garage while you're on vacation. You don't have to blame me. You could look it up. You could look some of this stuff up for yourself. Aromatics. I am smoking a Leaf by Oscar. And it comes wrapped up in a large cigar leaf. Which, if you're trying to get yourself some cigar leaf for blending purposes with a pipe tobacco, great. But for rolling purposes, probably not going to work. It's a little too fragile. But I'm fairly certain that if you worked it enough, spray bottle and various, you might be able to roll it out and get it really nice. Aromatics, I've smoked plenty of Opus X and plenty of Don Carlos. I would suggest getting the Don Carlos. Personally, I thought it was a better smoke than the Opus X. Price per pound and flavor, all the way around, I thought it was just a better cigar, personally. Now, Opus X is good, don't get me wrong. Opus X is plenty good. But the Don Carlos, well, the Don Carlos Reserve is, of the Fuentes, that's my favorite. Jeff, it kind of depends on one, what other stuff is rolled with it. Because sometimes you get spicy with some peppery kick to it, and sometimes you don't. Robert, if I want a Opus X, I will tell my buddy that works at the cigar shop 6 miles from here, and when they come in, he will give me a call and I'll go pick one up. But I'm not super big on the Opus X, so I don't go looking for them very often. But normally they do drop just before Christmas time, and by about now you're probably SOL as far as getting any. But I definitely like the Dominican cigars. Well, most of them anyways. And I agree, the Andalusian Bull is very nice. Oh, Liga Privada number 9. Very nice. Now, neat freak. If you like the Feral Pig, which I know comes in the T52 and the number 9. If you like the shape of that but want to try something different, look for something called Jamon, Jamon, made by Plasencia. And I'm going to tell you right now, you're going to find them at jrcigars.com and just go ahead and buy the can. It comes in an old style looking coffee can. You get 12 of them in there for 60 plus a little bit, and you're not going to find a better cigar at that price point anywhere. Not Paciencia, but PLA. And I think it's SENCIA. PLASENCIA. But yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah, Neat Freak. It's a little hard to get them unless you are able to see a brick and mortar, or if you are ordering them online. And you're not going to find them on Cigar International because it's a JR Cigars exclusive. Jeff, yes, that is correct. Ometempe. I believe they are the only ones that are growing Ometempe because they are the only ones that have the land in between those volcanoes there on that island in Lake Nicaragua. Anywhere else they can grow Ometempe style, but it won't taste the same. Yes, Patrick Grant, definitely Placencia, but you don't have to have the CIA cigars. Just cigars. I know, it was probably a autocorrect or something. I'm just making sure that you know it doesn't need the CIA in front of cigars. All right, I have been on for an hour and a half. We are 7 minutes out from Robert's nominal going live time. Sometimes I get informed when Robert goes live, sometimes I don't. Remember, that's EnAsDad. So if anybody sees him or gets notified that he has gone live, go ahead and let everybody know so we can all get over there. Yeah, I kind of started doing this because of how freaking miserable it is that you hit the start button on a live feed and 5, 10, 15 minutes later, nobody's even there. All right, Deep Freak, you take a good rest, and, well, if you're not going to Robert's show, you're missing out, brother. But I'm not trying to twist anybody's arm to make sure that they go either. Oh, Jeff, if you got anywhere near what the Don Carlos is supposed to taste like, man, you're going to be like, this is awesome. And I'll explain it to you. Look up Eye of the Shark. The cigar Eye of the Shark adds one extra leaf from one single farm to the Don Carlos, and it becomes the Eye of the Shark blend. And you damn near cannot tell the difference unless you really, really have spent time with both cigars. And not too many people spent that much time with both cigars. Oh, very cool, Jeff. Very cool. Sitting here talking about cigars and let mine go out. Sorry about that. And I will tell you that the Don Carlos, if you're going to get the Don Carlos, the two best flavored ones that I've found of their lineup, and there's a bunch of them, the number 2 and the Presidente, just hands down, they perfected that blend with those two. The rest of them are good and very good, but the number 2 and the Presidente is outstanding. Well, Jeff, I'll smoke them, but I'm not going to ask for it. Everybody who knows me knows I'm not asking. I definitely smoke cigars, though. And I've smoked a bunch of cigars that I didn't like. And I'll even tell you the best parts about it. And if you want a bare bones, straight out, full review, I mean, I'll give that to you. But I always caution people about that, because if I find that it's not something I like, I'll even tell you about that part. But oh, Donnie, see, some people think the eye is way better, and I really didn't think it was that much better. But yeah, the number 2, much easier to get and a way better price. So, I mean, well, not a problem, Jeff. I mean, I'll work with you. I'm not going to be mean about it. I will just give an honest, formerly worked in a cigar shop, so maybe I have a little bit of experience, opinion on where you're at. But if you're like zeroed in and on point, just be prepared, because I'll be having people ordering from you. Oh, Donnie, yeah, I smoked a Padron 7000 yesterday. Yeah, it's great. I've had the whole lineup of Padrones. The only Padrones I didn't much care for are the Damaso. But I didn't think that Damaso tasted like Padron. It didn't have that. And I don't know of anybody who's really serious about cigars that hasn't found Padron at some point and gone like, damn, that's a good cigar. And my only problem with Padrones at all is box press. I am not a fan of box press. So the Padron 7000, yeah, if I'm going to pick up a Padron, that's really my go-to. And people are like, oh, that's just because it's cheaper. No, it's because it's so fat that it's actually round. And yes, Donnie, I do believe it's because it's Connecticut and not for any other reason. All right. Robert said he'd be live by already a minute ago, so we're going to go check him out. Ladies and gentlemen, it's been so much fun having y'all here this evening. So much fun for me anyways. I'm glad y'all could come out and hang with me. But we're tailgating and it's time for Robert, so we're going to jump over there. So y'all remember, take care of yourselves and each other. Do the best you can with that. And as per always, remember, long lives, big bowls, and long ashes. Y'all take care, and I will see you in just a minute. Bye for now.